Today we're talking about why thought leadership content matters more than ever for startup founders, and how we have unlocked nearly a 20 times increase in website visitors for one of our clients in the last 3 months by utilizing this exact strategy. You don't need another lead magnet or funnel, you need leverage. You need to own the category and position yourself as the de facto expert in your industry, so that way your advice is seen as the only advice worth listening to. Leverage looks like this: thought leadership content that earns trust before your product ever has to make a pitch. And if you do it right, your product will never have to. If you're a founder and you're still relying on paid ads and SDR spam, then this is your wake-up call. If I could shake you through this camera, I would. Thought leadership isn't just a nice to have in 2025, it is your growth strategy. Great content can get more eyeballs on and sell more products than any of your SDRs ever will. It's always on. Why should you listen to me? My name is Morgan Von Drood. I am the founder and CEO of Dippity Digital. I have spent the last 10 years working my way up from startup intern to an enterprise senior leader, and I am responsible for nearly $1.3 billion in revenue from the campaigns that I have run. I've helped early stage startups go from absolutely invisible in their market to industry defining using one core system more than anything else, and that is founder-led thought leadership. Today I'm giving you my entire playbook. This will include why this content model outperforms outbound, how it builds compounding trust with your users, and how one of our clients, Klover.ai, went from 1,600 visitors per month to 32,000 visitors per month in the last 90 days alone, all with zero paid ads. But first, let's get the janitorial stuff out of the way. Please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe button. As we are a new channel, I would very much appreciate your support. We're trying to grow aggressively here. It goes a long way. All right, enough of that. Let's get started. Chapter 1 here is why should founders care about thought leadership? What is it, and why does it matter? I want to lay the groundwork here by sharing some real data, so you don't just think it's me speaking out off the top of my head. According to a 2024 HubSpot buyer survey, 75% of B2B buyers begin their buying journey not with a demo, but with educational content from your blog or your knowledge base. And frankly, it's a lot of it. They consume 3 to 7 pieces on average before they ever bother contacting one of your sales reps. The buyers today are looking to educate themselves on your content and then go ahead and reach out before they get into a muddied sales cycle. To back this up, an Edelman and LinkedIn B2B Thought Leadership Impact Report, I believe also from 2024, indicates that 2 out of 3 C-suite buyers have changed vendors because of thought leadership content directly. To quote Steli Efti, founder of Close.com, when you consistently produce compelling, authentic, and genuinely helpful content, you build a completely different relationship with your customers, and this compounds through trust. This alone is what separates scalable brands from those who are stuck fighting for the scraps that the rest of the market is leaving behind. The key benefits of this type of strategy includes increased trust before the sales call, since your prospects feel like they already know what value they're going to get from your product, and they understand what your brand stands for. They effectively pre-qualify themselves by understanding the problem, and they waste less of your sales reps' time because your sales reps don't have to spend 2 or 3 discovery calls walking them through the problem and solution cycle. And last, it is perceived authority in the market. If you are the de facto go-to expert, then it is a no-brainer. People want to work with the best, so position yourself as the best. The best way to do that is by giving up not your secret sauce, but as much information as you can for free to prove that you are the leader in your industry. I will share a graphic somewhere on the screen. It might just get plastered right above my face, but we worked with the Klover.ai team. They are an AI systems company building artificial general decision making, which is directly challenging AGI that we're seeing come out of Silicon Valley. If you haven't paid attention to them, link in the description, go check them out. Always will push them. Their tech was light years ahead of their online presence when I first met them. Their website was outdated, their blogs were scattered across weeks or months, and they didn't really have a brand narrative. We fixed that. We went ahead and revamped their entire website, so if you need help with any web design at all, I might know a guy, feel free to reach out. But to get to the meat and potatoes of the issue, they had about 1,600 visitors per month when we started with them back in January. We slowly fixed their website, made sure that there was a proper UX, there was a good customer experience on the site. But over the last 90 days, especially, we really ticked up this thought leadership founder-led approach through articles, especially enterprise-grade articles. So if you go onto their blog now, you will see dozens, if not hundreds, of articles published by their CEO, Danny Katishian. And this worked. In the last 90 days alone, we've gone from that 1,600, give or take, visitors per month to 32,000 monthly visits, all through organic content. No paid ads, strictly the time that it took for us to write this content, edit the content, and then publish it. It wasn't viral luck or some kind of cheap hack. It was just engineered trust. Now, if you go on to something like a ChatGPT or a Gemini and you ask who is the pioneer of artificial general decision making, who pioneered vibe coding, who has the best enterprise AI strategy, we rank number 1 for all of those terms. Moving on to chapter 2. Crafting a strategic content framework. Content without strategy is just noise, and there's already way too much of that in the market. You're not just trying to post into some black hole and hoping that something finally shouts back to you from oblivion. The most effective founders treat content like a product. It's built around real user needs, real user stories, and it's shipped out consistently. Then it's optimized through rampant feedback. Great content frameworks have these 4 things in common. They have a defined niche and ICP, ideal customer profile. Also, other people like Alex Ramosi would call that your avatar. SEO research and keyword mapping, knowing exactly what keywords are going to be on the page, having supportive keywords. So it's of course important to have your primary keyword, try and long tail that if possible. The more you long tail that, typically the deeper down the funnel you'll get in your audience. And then having something that I call C-index or correspondence index, which is effectively synonyms. In a world where you weren't able to use your primary keyword, what other words would you use in place to still get Google to pick up this story? Cross-channel distribution and planning. We talked about this before by posting on LinkedIn, X, YouTube here, making sure that you're hitting your audience everywhere they could possibly be engaging. And last, having a clear editorial process and clear KPIs, making sure that every blog doesn't look the same in a cookie cutter sense, but does follow the same sort of format that you know is working once you finally do hit the nail on the head is important. Once you figure it out, you don't need to go try and reinvent the wheel with every single piece of content that you write. Having clear KPIs, at least for me, means I want to be able to publish one piece of content, long form content, every single weekday, every single quarter. So I plan meticulously. About a month before the quarter starts, I go ahead and write all of my content and then schedule it all for the entire quarter. According to Cassandra Nagy, CEO of Campfire Labs, the best content strategy starts by deeply understanding your ICP and their pain points, then solving them at scale. I talk about this pretty frequently, that sales is a one-on-one conversation, but marketing is sales at scale. It is much more effective for you to figure out, okay, I am selling to this one individual, this one type of person. There will be millions of them. I need to go ahead and figure out how to best communicate with that one person. I need to solve their problems. Don't fall into the trap of trying to solve everything for everyone. Graduate that one type of customer profile from the baseline understanding of what the problem is to what the solution is, to how you specifically solve it better than anybody else in your market. Then, once you have customers that are at that point, you can start expanding their horizons to other problems that they might also be facing. A tactical tip here is to build content pillars, and we've talked about this in other videos. So things like AI marketing for small teams, scaling with lean ops, building trust in SaaS funnels. Plan topic clusters under each of these core pillars, map them to funnel stages, and then reverse engineer your calendar from what your ICP is already Googling. It helps here with your content pillars to have one long form core piece of content that might be 5, 6, 7,000 words long that's effectively an ebook. Break down all of the H2s to handle all of the subcategories in there, and then simultaneously go write secondary blogs addressing each of those H2s directly. Then you can cross-link internally and build out that sitemap, build out your internal linking, which again, Google sees as a positive thing and will continue to push all of this content holistically rather than just one piece. In my opinion, the best tools to track this would be Ahrefs and SEMrush to get keyword data. It also just helps to do, tried and true search engine research, like just Google things and then keep a spreadsheet on what's actually coming up. This is where we got most of our keyword data on Klover to get that meteoric rise, that 20x rise in visitors. We aren't using any additional tools. They're a bootstrap startup. They don't have any funding at this point. So we're, working off of the bare bones. And what this has really helped reiterate for me or reinforce for me is the importance of the foundational work. Oftentimes, I see a lot of startups just go ahead and buy whatever tech stack their advisors or their new marketing hire or insert whatever role has, and you end up in this situation where every single department has 20 or so different products that, SaaS platforms that they're logging into, and they're just hemorrhaging money when they could just go do all of this stuff manually and likely get better results. A really good example of this is I would say things like Notion or Airtable are fantastic for managing your editorial workflows, making sure that people are actually leaving comments internally before things ship, making sure that you have your featured images delivered from, your graphics department, making sure that your VP of marketing actually read over the blog and getting all of those checks, approved before something actually ships. But myself as a team of one, I don't need that at all, right? So I just use Google Docs to manage all of that. It works perfectly fine. Again, it saves me like probably $60 a month just because I don't need a SaaS tool for that when I can just do it in Google Suite for free. Other things like having a UTM builder in G8.4 for performance tracking is huge. I use Search Console, Google Analytics 4 primarily, and even in my WordPress instance, something like Jetpack, which I believe comes automatically with WordPress. Chapter 3 is all about thought leadership formats and distribution channels. So let's talk formats, because founders don't have time, in most cases, to write 3,000 word essays every single week. But you do have insights that nobody else has, and you need to find the time to share them. Here are some high impact formats that I use every day to get my expertise out there without breaking my time allotment in my bandwidth. Long form blog posts, these can be anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 words. Founder led podcasts or interviews, effectively treating this like a podcast. LinkedIn posts, threads with real stories, subtitled short form videos, and email newsletters with personalized reflections. All of this can be aided with ChatGPT. If you're not using it or you're still reluctant on the whole AI train, what are you doing? I don't believe anybody in this audience is going to be dragging their feet on AI, but just in case, use it every day. Even for the $20 a month version of ChatGPT, it pays for itself every single day. It helps to build protocols as well. For my company, I have the Serendipity protocol, and it is a 17-page document that breaks down exactly how I want my blogs to be written, with examples from my voice of blogs that I have handwritten myself. So that way, all I need to do is hand Gemini or ChatGPT my protocol and say, okay, write this blog about this topic based on the protocol, and the protocol is trained on me. So I can write 15, 16 blogs that are all 4,000 words each in a day, and then spend the next day scheduling out all of my social content for them. So it could take a weekend to do nearly a month's worth of content. And the kicker is that since it's a protocol that has been trained on me, it sounds exactly how my voice sounds. Not audible, but how my written tone is. Rand Fishkin from SparkToro says that content that moves the needle isn't fluff, it's deep, data-backed, and often raw. It doesn't need to be polished. It just needs to be helpful. A really good example of this is GrooveHQ's Journey to 100K MMR blog series, which worked wonders because it was vulnerable, real, it showed where they made mistakes, and it showed where their successes were. There were no filters here. It helped them pull in millions of visits and then millions of dollars from those visits. At Dippity, we do a very similar thing. We always try to be as vulnerable as possible. We publish consistently, and we convert each founder blog across multiple channels. So for any one blog that I write, I will have 3 LinkedIn posts that come out of that blog talking about different aspects in that content. Similarly, we have 5 to 7 tweets on Twitter. If you don't follow me there, it is just my name, @MorganVonDruitt. So go ahead and click that follow button. And we create, recently, YouTube videos. So if you don't know, I will give you the secret. All of these YouTube video topics that we're talking about here is effectively just me talking through the blog content that I published either that day or, in a previous week. And then the last piece here is the audio podcast for our content. I use something like a Google Notebook LM. You could also use 11 Labs to generate audio of just 2 people talking back and forth strictly in, audio format, which is great for people that are trying to listen to something going on their commute but don't want to necessarily get distracted by a YouTube video. Even though I don't really have tons of moving stuff all over the screen, it just takes a lot of editing time that I do these videos in between meetings. So I'm trying to deliver as much value as I can to everybody out on as many channels as I can without absolutely evaporating my bandwidth. As the channel takes off, then things will get higher and higher fidelity. All of this is how you 10x one idea through proper distribution. That's how you win share of voice in an incredibly noisy market. It's not by being louder than anybody else, it's by being more consistent than anybody else. Chapter 4 is all about using AI and data to scale thought leadership. And frankly, this is where most founders either stall or scale to oblivion. AI is a multiplier, but only when it's combined with a clear strategy. And prompting matters. Here's how we make it work. And I can break this down into 4 sort of subsections. So 1 would be ideation and drafting. Use tools like ChatGPT to brainstorm titles, pull outline structures, and generate first drafts based on your unique point of view. I have an incredibly aggressive posting schedule on LinkedIn, like I mentioned, where we publish 1 long form piece of content every single day, every single weekday. This is a full 5,000 word blog, deep dive in Google Docs. It often can be like a 36-page document that I'm generating every single day, again, aided by the protocols that I've spent the last 2.5 years building. So that way all of the content actually comes from my expertise, draws from my case studies, draws from my resume, and sounds like me. It helps tremendously. Then we break all of that content into multiple different social posts for YouTube, for Twitter, for, again, LinkedIn, making sure that it's not just the one LinkedIn post that is shilling the image and the link to the blog, but we're also posting 2 to 3 other pieces of content that are maybe shorter form, that are just talking and sharing advice and sharing the lessons that we're trying to bring to people in a bite-sized format, because not everybody has time to go ahead and read the full blog. I remember when ChatGPT and these LLMs were first coming out, I was primarily in control of writing all of the content as a product marketing manager at the company I was with at the time. And to write something comparable, it would take me about 3 days in total. So I could get through maybe 2 highly researched blogs per week. This is, heavily researched, peer reviewed, making sure that we were, sourcing articles from Gardner and Forrester and Harvard Business Review. It was, a 4,000 word article, heavy deep dive, industry specific. That would take me days of just working through and writing, and I would have to ignore all of my other product marketing functions just to get that out the door. Now I can get through 15 of those in a day utilizing AI to help me write, again, because it's already been trained on how I speak, what my vernacular is like, how I want to communicate, and real examples from my career. Then I'll go ahead and the majority of the time, those 15 minutes is me actually combing through and rewriting, editing, and making sure that everything lands properly using my executive brain to ensure that the output is actually what I want to deliver, not just random AI jargon. And I think that's the beautiful thing about AI. It allows the systems to do all of the grunt work, whereas it allows you as an operator to focus on the high order strategic executive grade work that you need to actually build a business. 2 here is SEO optimization. So use tools like ClearScope, Surfer SEO, and AI SEO to analyze competitors and help you rank faster. At Dippity, we use AI SEO and run every single draft through it. It actually has a really great scoring system based on the amount of keyword usage and how your H2s are positioned, or what keywords are in your H2s. It even ranks your titles, and it has everything go from a red to an orange to a green scoring system with a number. And I make sure that before I publish anything at all, every single talking point, every single statistic is in the green, because that's telling me, hey, this has the highest chance of success possible. Yeah, sure, it takes a couple extra minutes, but if it's the difference between landing on page 7 and landing on page 1, I will make that trade all of the time. Number 3 would be personalization at scale. So segmented newsletters and dynamic CTAs mean that your enterprise buyers sees a different version than your solo founder reader. I ran a campaign during Atlassian's global activation campaign back in 2023, manually creating about 16 different versions of the same freaking campaign. And they were all segmented by persona, awareness stage, and buyer intent. Today, AI can just do that automatically, whereas I spent 2 whole quarters managing those campaigns. Last year, number 4 would be performance analytics. So content is only as valuable as what you measure. Again, you're not just screaming into the void and hoping that somebody screams back. Space is a vacuum. The ways that you can fix this is by looking at your scroll depth, your CTA click rate, your attribution to SQLs. To quote the Content Marketing Institute in 2024, only 46% of marketers say they effectively measure content ROI. More often than not, they just said it and they forget it. You should not be that other half. To tie this into a real enterprise example, Cisco launched an AI blog series that leveraged executive interviews, research charts, and analytics insights with staggering results. Cisco turned its thought leadership into more than just messaging. It became a strategic learning hub for CIOs. The unique blend of foundational research, executive commentary, and technical execution guides helped them stand out as a trusted authority for AI transformation in enterprise IT. Now, alluding back to that Atlassian role that I had held, managing any type of digital transformation initiative is insane. There's, especially at the enterprise level, there is so much red tape, there is so much buy-in that you need, and oftentimes the executive team doesn't really care about transformation as much as you think they do, since enterprises are incredibly slow. They are reluctant to make changes. It's like the difference between trying to navigate a speedboat, which is like a startup where you can make abrupt, sharp turns, versus trying to move a cruise ship, which takes a lot of labor and a lot of coordination to even get this thing to move a degree of a difference. Startups have the privilege because of their size, to be able to do this on a leaner scale. Number 5 is measuring impact and continuously optimizing your content. To be honest, you don't need viral hits. You need compacting content performance. And what this means is measuring beyond vanity metrics. Looking at real KPIs for thought leadership, things like time on page, scroll depth, demo requests per post, funnel velocity improvement, and MQL to SQL conversion rate lift every single time that you publish one of these pieces of content. Tools like GA4 go a long way for traffic and goal tracking, HubSpot and Apollo for lead attribution, and Hotjar to see what people actually do when they're on your page. When I was looking at Hotjar for the Klover.ai page, after we recognized this huge boom from 1,600 visitors per month to 32,000 visitors per month, I wanted to see what these users were actually doing and, if they were getting value from their experience or if they were just coming on and then bouncing. And what we found was that every single user, on average, was going across 8 pages per session, which is really interesting when the industry average is that users will spend 3 pages per session. I can't stress enough how important it is to build out qualitative feedback loops as well with your customers, as this should be an open conversation. Ask your customers, did our content help you before you got onto the sales call? If the answer is yes, then you're winning. If the answer is no, then you need to go build better content. Thought leadership is what shapes perception long before your SDR hits send. All right, it's time to land the plane on how to become a thought leadership authority in your industry. Thought leadership is not about ego, it's about scale. It lets you build pipeline while you sleep, influence your category narrative, and win attention before you're a household name. As seen with the Klover.ai example, Dippity helps startups do just that. We combine keyword strategy, editorial rigor, and founder-voiced articles to build compounding growth engines. If you want to build the unignorable brand in your space, this is exactly how you do it. You need to remember that you don't need more noise, you need more narrative. You need a direction. You need to enter as the leader in your space and say, hey, all of the stuff that was going on before is wrong or broken, or there's a new evolution. Pay attention to me. Let's go this way. And then get buy-in and prove it. If you're a founder ready to lead your category, your voice is your advantage. So start writing, start recording, start shipping. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be more helpful than anything else that your competitors are doing. You're not out there giving out your secret sauce. You're proving to your market that you know how to do this well and that they should trust you with their wallets. If you need help doing this properly, you know exactly where to find us. Link below at dippity.digital. Again, there are hundreds of free resources in our blog. You can go ahead and listen to any of our blogs as an audio podcast as well. I know me, for one, I hate reading, so listening on my commute, which I work from home, so neat, goes a long way. Again, this is just iterating. Provide your content in multiple different formats because people just want to consume it in different ways. So don't limit yourself to one channel. If you liked content like this, again, feel free to like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what I could be doing better, or if there's anything that you're struggling with, I am happy to have a conversation and give as much free advice as I can. And then click on one of the links above me to learn more about other marketing tactics from an industry expert. That's me. So I believe I'm just gonna chuck it. I liked how I did it last time. Boom, there is gonna be a video. And then there is going to be the subscribe button. So, neat. Okay, bye.